Colorado colleges are saying that they will require students to get a COVID-19 vaccine before returning to campus this fall. This includes not just students, but also faculty and staff. To help us understand the legality of this is our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor. Hey, Whitney, good morning.
Good morning, Natasha. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So the first question on people's minds, are mandatory vaccinations imposed by schools even lawful?
The short answer is yes, they are lawful, but not necessarily this current COVID vaccine. Meningitis, measles, other vaccines have been mandated by schools for years and years, and they've been upheld by the courts. And so really all 50 states have at least some vaccine mandates for children attending public schools. There are, of course, medical and religious exemptions, and in some states, including Colorado, there's philosophical exemptions after going through a few factors. But right now, what's really coming into play is the fact that this vaccine is an emergency use authorization. So right now, most of the precedent is dealing with fully approved FDA vaccines. This one, it's gone so quickly, that's going to be the issue. So parents opposing this are saying, look, this is an emergency use. And then particularly with the smaller kids, they're saying, hey, we're not sure if COVID spreads through the children, and we're not sure how severe it is. So those are the arguments. But generally, mandatory vaccines by schools are permissible.
Okay. You know, schools seem to be in a tough position here. They could face litigation for not maintaining a safe environment, but they could also be sued for mandating the vaccine. What are Colorado schools doing, and what's happening around the nation?
Right, that's a great point. The schools are responsible for keeping a safe environment for their children, and so if they don't, if, for example, kids got sick from COVID for not having tight enough regulations, the school could possibly face exposure. And then, of course, if they mandated the vaccine and kids had adverse reactions, they could face exposure. So what some schools are doing around the nation is they're saying, we're waiting for full FDA approval and then we'll mandate it. But several Colorado schools have already said, yes, we're going to do it. For example, Colorado College, where I'm at, Metro State, Regis, CU, DU, UNC. So I think the CSU system is waiting for full approval. So, you know, and the school's position is we have to keep all the students safe, herd immunity, and they're saying if you don't want to get the vaccine, you can still attend remotely.
Yeah, I mean, that's always going to be an option during this time. You know, sounds like will be a lot of litigation, but do you anticipate Congress passing any laws?
Right. So right now, the biggest, I think, legislation has been proposed by the Republicans, who have been pushing hard to limit the exposure of employers, which would also include universities because they obviously employ a lot of people. So I don't see Congress getting involved in these university issues. I think it's going to be a state by state situation. I think there's going to be a lot more litigation, though, against both the schools and against individual parents when if a parent believes that their child was infected by a non-vaccinated child, you're going to see that kind of litigation as well. But what makes that difficult is, where did the child get where did they contract the virus? Was it through school? Was it through this specific child? So there's a lot of issues, and I think it's going to be not through legislation, but more through litigation that will get some more direction.
Well, it's a really interesting conversation and all new territory, considering we've never faced something like this before. Makes it interesting. Well, Whitney.